I really do. Why would you come to me for your astrological forecast? One person sharing ideas, creative ideas about the universe. In some ways, it feels like astrology is a really poor use of time because the problems are not being solved, right? There's like, for instance, if this were broken, I could use language and tools to try to remedy it. I know how to fuse something like this back together, to be honest. I don't even know what's underneath it, but I could cut it apart if it was broken. I guess I would know. But you know, the human brain and communication is an interesting thing because we can utilize it to investigate things and explore things and build things. I use I use these tools to help wake up my shoulders and try to breathe life into my body. Try to love on myself. Why? Because it seems good to wiggle and move. But astrology, is it really a valuable practice? Is it really a valuable practice for you to look at my stories and think about your own life and ask yourself, could that be true? And I don't know, so what I will say is whenever I think about entertainment, it's not all created equal. I actually really love this show, Never Have I Ever, on Netflix. I'm just starting the second season. I really love the first. I think it's so beautiful. And even though I don't even really remember all the details of the first season, it came back really quick once I started watching it. I just love it. I think it's so wonderful. So why am I talking about that? Well, because that's what I'm experiencing. And right now I'm about to do a little astrology reading on the full moon that just recently happened. Normally I try to do them in advance so that it's more of a forecast, um, but it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. As a practice, I'm trying to do new and full moon readings. I think eventually, whenever I become like a successful storyteller, I would love to make a real film with other people that's magnificent every single fucking full moon. And I feel like it's gonna happen. I feel like it totally could. And I know that this full moon, I didn't make anything because I was with my friend enjoying a vacation, but it was also an eclipse, so, I'm cutting myself a little slack. Why? What's the point of astrology? I don't know, but I'm a good astrologer. I'll show you. I will show you. Ooh, this boy. Oh, this boy wants to see me. Oh, thank God. I want to be seen. I want to be touched. I want to be loved on. I mean, this was a Scorpio full moon. So, again, I'm going to start telling stories and sharing ideas in relation to this fucking thing if I can ever. Scorpio, lunar eclipse, full moon, and I'm going to do, where was I? Where was I at the point of it? Let me figure out when it is first. I should have done this all before. This is not necessarily about my audience right now. This is about fostering the discipline, planting the seeds of committing to doing the things that I'm saying I'm going to do as a creative person. And I love the idea of using the stars, but I don't have to use the stars. This is all for me. I'm sharing everything for me. If it benefits you, if it's entertaining, if it's something to do, it makes you think, if it's immersive, then I'm so grateful. If it's boring, then I guess don't watch it. But I'm going to try to sit better, and I'm going to try to say full moon Scorpio time 2022. Because this is a real thing. It's like a bit of data that allows me to create. Full moon Scorpio time, not Yahoo. Is there like a moon calendar or something? Is it in Pacific time? Doesn't really matter. You know what? I do like AstroSeek a lot. It's not as pretty though. I'm just going to use AstroSeek's website this time, because then I don't have to type anything in. I can just look at the chart. and it doesn't have a house automatically, which I like. So yeah, we'll just use astroseek. So what we have here, what we have here when we look at this moment is, of course, the direct opposition from the sun and the moon. That is the signature of a full moon. Now, the reason we have an eclipse is because the south node is very close to the moon. It's within a few degrees. It's obviously not an exact, but it's a it's an interesting configuration because the divine impulse, the brightest light, the thing that holds it all together right now, is in Taurus. We're orbiting around the sun in Taurus, and it is, of course, near the head of the dragon. So that would mean that both the sun and the moon, the big luminaries, the big bright lights, are at a point where they sort of get blocked, you know? So for this reason, I would say that, you know, eclipses are kind of awe-inspiring. They are something that we all sort of are like, wow, that big bright ball and that big large rock, which seem the exact same size to me, based off of how close they are because of distance, are like suddenly undergoing this like dramatic shift. It's pretty dope, honestly. I think it's pretty dope. But that dopeness is also, you can tell stories about it being good or bad. And as an astrologer, the one that I'm leaning into now, more than if it's good or bad, is like, whoa, like the lights are flickering out on the big guy, the big gal, the sun being the guy and the gal. Again, I'm not trying to like be rude or anything about um, gendering and all that stuff because our pronouns and things are just whoa. We're in a way different time now. Hello, my name is Caleb Barron. I'm growing out my hair. I'm trying to just do whatever the fuck I want. I think I look a little bit like a statue. Oh, it looks so much better before I fucked with it. I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. I'm just gonna. Oh man, I liked it more before I touched it. Okay, so you've got that sun shining this light in the Taurus realm, kind of near Uranus, not super close, kind of near Mercury, but the nearest one is this craving. So there's this like energy, this bright light, kind of it's powerful. So all of those things are probably encompassed in it to a degree. Anything within 15 degrees is said to be under the beams of the sun. But that energy, that energy, that energy is in nurturing, eating, pleasure, day-to-day activities. It's in a steady body maintenance, comfort. It's ruled over. Oh, sorry, I should not keep switching back and forth. The sun is in Taurus is ruled over by Venus at this moment because Venus is where the fuck is Venus? How am I not able to see Venus? She's at 15 degrees Aries. Oh, because she's like smack dab underneath Chiron. Is that right? Venus and Chiron. Yeah, they're basically at the same spots. Okay, that makes sense. So, ooh, that's interesting. So, the story I would say is there is a lover and a wounded healer, energy. So, someone who wants to love but can't. Someone who has a great capacity to show love, but and I don't want to get too crazy, but whenever I start thinking about my own life and relationships, that Venus Chiron conjunction is conjunct where Mercury was when I was born. So for me, it manifests around like communicating for other people in a loving wounded healer knowing from experience kind of a way and sort of disseminating that out. It's actually it's really interesting when I think about it in relationship to my own chart, which of course I could do with yours, but kind of neither here nor there. The story that I'm telling is that there's this, well, it gets more complicated. This is the thing. This is the thing about astrology. Taurus is in charge of the sun right now. The sun is the bright light. That's where I like to start. Taurus is in charge, is ruled over by Venus, who's conjunct Chiron and Aries. And Aries is ruled over by Mars, which is ruled over by Jupiter. And Jupiter is actually moving back into Aries. So there's this sort of like cluster of energy between like the collective, the impulsive individual, and the one who's steady in their practice of what it is that they want to do. That energy is where this energy is kind of being kind of, I don't know, focused. And then there's there's certainly this kind of challenging but still flowing energy going to the moon. Mars in Pisces rules over the moon. So whenever I start to think about this as how to tell a story, it's a lot of improvisation, right? That's sort of the point of astrology. So I'm getting that there's this creature that really wants to be comfortable. And they're kind of hurt because they're wanting to be loved, and they're wanting to be nourished because they know what it's like not to be. So they want to love, they want to nourish, they want to do that, they want to feel connected. But it's hard. It's hard to do that because you've got all this desire and inertia inside of you that just wants to go, and you're not exactly sure where to put it. You could put it into so many different places, to so many different people. And it's not clear to me who. And because Neptune is conjunct Mars, which is sort of like the aggression, there's probably substances involved or illusion or some kind of like humanitarian service or something. There's like this diffusion of where to put that inertia. But yet you've got strong feelings, and you have your own wounds and your own traumas. So how does that energy flow? Because reality, which is, I'm going to just use the word like the harsher part of reality, is very, very much just like bam, like I exist, I'm steady. There are rules. The moon in Scorpio is said to be in fall. Mercury in Gemini, though it is retrograde, headed back towards the sun. It's about right now on this day to make a cazimi with the sun. That's coming very soon. There's about to be like this moment where the messenger god is in the heart of the sun. I can show you where the chart is now. Don't you see why of the moment? I cannot really type with one hand. Blah, 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 blah. I should do more preparation. Astrological chart of the moment. This is such a beautiful website, I think. Oh, Virgo rising. Yeah, and the sun. Ooh, and Mercury are pretty much near each other. Let's see. The sun is at 0 degrees Gemini, and Mercury is at 0:44. Oh, yeah, it already happened. It just happened. Well, no, it's retrograding. It hasn't happened because it's going down, so it'll happen in just a few minutes, likely. This moment is Virgo rising. Yeah, the sun and Gemini are. Ooh, we're about to go back into Taurus, because Gemini season started yesterday when the sun ingressed into Gemini. Like, here's the thing. Whenever I think about astrology, when I think about how to tell stories, it's important for me for them to be helpful to real people. How do I tell a story that's helpful to all people? That goes back to my analogy as like small problems, small things. I really can dig in and explore and dissect and go through things. But when I think about talking to everyone in the world or anyone, entertainment and stories seems to be like the most effective way. But is it true that the stars affect us or something like that? Well, certainly they do in a literal way. Like if the sun stopped shining, obviously nothing would exist. But I don't know. We created these as humans. My understanding is we created these constellations and we associated the sun with like the father or the one who is brightly shining, and the moon is mother and nurturing, and Mars is aggression, and Venus as loving connection. We all do have those themes in our lives, and I think storytelling is a really valuable thing. Some people, like my favorite astrologers, they tend to have like faith in their stories though, as if that's really what's happening. And I mean, to me, it could be like phenomenology or something like that. Any real, I don't know if there's any real way to know that. No, that's like the whole argument with this practice. It's like since it's fictitious, since it's created, does it have value? But I feel like you could say the same thing about a film or like The Golden Girls. Like it's a scripted show, but I think it brought a lot of comfort and I don't know, good things to the people, to myself. So yeah, that's kind of why I do it because it could be beneficial. It could be helpful. I hope it is. I hope that some of these ramblings are helpful. I prefer to ground them in real problems than maybe I have an orientation towards problems. Like right now, I'm looking at my skin as I age. You can see it starting to hold on to certain shapes. From a distance, it looks not, but so I try to take care of myself, put on a little sunscreen today because I had a date, but it's getting postponed. So, till later. So I don't know. It's authentic. It's real. It's it's a story. It's a creation. We're all part of it. It's real. The planets really are up there. Is what I'm saying about them helpful? Like I'm gonna switch gears now and I'm gonna talk about me and my experience. I can see how there was a lot of love and wounded healer energy around me during this eclipse, given who I was with and how they were behaving. In fact, wounded healer energy has been something that I've been really dealing with daily since, yeah, for some time. For some time. And Chiron is conjunct the ruler of my chart in astrology because I'm a Virgo rising. That's Virgo. When I was born, the sun was rising here, and the person in charge of Virgo, the androgynous messenger god, was Mercury, and Mercury was in Aries, approximately right there, right fucking there. So, yeah, I communicated with lovers during that period pretty intensively around love. I tried to share love and connection, and I did it in my Arisian way, which is fiery and direct and not at all gentle. It's tough, it's impulsive, it's sporadic. And yeah, I identify with that a great deal. That is how I behaved. And because Jupiter was in Aries, there was a great deal of commotion and motion in the house of other people's resources. And I was buoyed around strictly based on my relationships with other people. I was invited to a house party, I went sailing, you know. I tried to use my own capacities as well to the best of my ability to make sure my friend was having a good time. But like, I absolutely feel that. Where specifically was I going? Well, no fucking clue. Why? Because Neptune and Mars are near where my sun is, which means my brightest light, who I am, my essence, is being diffused and boiled. I feel that. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm working on a lot of different things. I ended up in a Teal Swan documentary recently. for like 2 seconds, which was really cool because I've been following her work for a long time. I don't know if she's legit or not, in the sense like she calls herself an alien and stuff, but like I know that her work speaks for itself and it's been very helpful to me. And I don't actually give a fuck if the whole thing is some kind of theatrical show. I know that I've benefited from it. But I don't know. She's got a lot of stuff going on in the 12th house in Gemini. Her work is her work. Your work is your work. We're really here. We're really alive. So, yeah. I like having music on, but I don't want it to get taken down, this YouTube video, because people may actually watch it. I'm not so bad to look at. But I'm trying to think what else I can say. It's like let's see. This is here. Power transformation going down to this point. Yeah, I don't know. It's powerful messages around body maintenance and comfort. Yeah, I can see how that feels true, because I spent a good deal of time talking to people about like drug use and how it's not sustainable, and um, how I can commit to my own health practices better, because even though sometimes my mind is like, what's the point? When I look down at my body, I'm like, well, there's an inertia. There's some kind of universal karma or whatever that's existed long before me, and it seems to want living things and animals and creatures and all these things. So, what do we do? How can we let go of the things, the feelings and emotions that are not serving us? Like, I know a lot of humans are afraid of many different things, like, you know, we want to feel safe. We want to have enough food, and we're all dependent on each other. And there's so many of us, and new people are sometimes scary for us. So, what can we do as like a culture and a species to make it better? And I know that all of us ultimately need to take care of ourselves, because once you become old enough, there's no choice but to do that. Like, as painful as that sounds, it's like we have to, but can't we work together better and find ways of improving the situation? That seems to be what I'm after. But, well, this is a practice. I did my part. I'm gonna do it basically twice a month. So thanks for listening. Maybe one day I won't have to have other jobs and I can just do this. We'll see. Bye.